Hey, what up, everybody? This is Steve Breach coming to you. What a difference 45 minutes can make. Honestly, I left here thinking that it was going to be a short news day, and there really wasn't going to be much news coming out. This is Friday. Not much to really make videos about. I was sort of thinking I was going to be planning doing a few WrestleMania reviews tonight over the WrestleManias that I've watched this week on the WWE Network, and now basically, the wrestling world on Twitter is abuzz. Bill DeMott has put in his resignation from being the head trainer of NXT at the Performance Center, which was a big job for him. Honestly, this was him on his second chance already with WWE. But this week, there's been huge allegations dumped out against him by past and former performers in the system for WWE. I know that basically Bill DeMott was released back from Deep South earlier before bringing him back to be the head trainer once again at the Performance Center. So it was already like he was already on his second chance. But you can sort of see this coming. Honestly, there were just way too many people speaking out about what was going on. Basically, I've heard from a lot of shoot interviews from guys that were in Deep South, basically that WWE would be sending people down to Deep South to be trained, and Bill DeMott basically split the school into two sets, guys that he thought were going to be something in the wrestling business, and those were guys that he really sort of took care of, and then guys that he didn't think there was any chance in the world they were going to make it, that it was just a waste of his time, and he didn't spend any time with those people, and they were in another class all on their own. I don't know how the Performance Center was run, but you would think that the way that WWE touts this thing out there is basically being like an NFL camp is how this is run. That whoever's on top of there is going to be it has to be huge and really, really professional about it. Bill DeMott, to me, honestly, has always been sort of a weird guy to be the head trainer, but, I've never been a wrestler, and sometimes the guys that aren't huge stars end up becoming the better ones that are out there. I've already heard, names that are tossed out there, that Finley might be the guy to take this job. There's been other people that have been thrown out there. I know Billy Gunn has been down there working with the developmental a whole lot since being brought back to the company. Even when he got rehired to be a guy down there, people thought that he was going to be replacing Bill DeMott at that time. And he had to come out on his Twitter and just say that he wasn't taking DeMott's job. He was just going to be working with him. So, I don't know if he's going to be moving into that head role. Finley is a guy that's been rumored to be there. Lance Storm is a guy who runs a hell of a wrestling school. Lance Storm is a guy that one of my friends, Kevin, was actually going to go train with. That ended up not being able to work out. I really wish that he would have, because that would have been a huge launch in his career. But a lot of times when Lance Storm is on the show with Brian Alvarez on Figure 4 Daily, he talks about how WWE will send him people. They will recommend, you're not ready for the Performance Center yet. Why don't you go train with Lance for a session, and Lance will give us a progress report and see if it's ready, and it's time for you to bring him in there. So that Lance is a guy that's on the thing. He's been outspoken in the past about basically not wanting to move to Florida. He's very comfortable living in Canada. He's been to the Performance Center a few times, and he's talked about that on his show. But the other names that are out there is Christian, who I think has moved on from his wrestling days. I had heard that he was taking on an acting job on that Edge show on Sci-Fi. Haven't really heard anything about that, but then again, I heard about that show when Edge first took the job, and I haven't really heard about it since, except for when he comes back to, advertise that it's coming back from his seasonal hiatus, when he does his yearly trip to Monday Night Raw. Other names are Albert. He was a huge star in Japan. He had a marginal career in the WWE as well. But he's the guy that's been working down at NXT. He's been really working on his commentating skills, but, they could probably use him as other things inside of the company as well. So we'll have to see. There's going to be more to come on the story, but Bill DeMott's on the outs, and we're going to find somebody on the ends.